83-year-old grandma's hidden letters reveal a secret love story from World War II that no one knew about. In a quiet, tree-lined town in Vermont, USA, there stood a small, old house with white paint peeling from the sides and flower pots on the porch. That house belonged to Evelyn Grace Parker, known to everyone as Grandma Evelyn. She was 83 years old, with soft white hair, kind eyes, and hands that always smelled of lavender and bread dough. People in the neighborhood often saw her walking to the local market with her woven basket, greeting everyone with a warm smile. Evelyn had lived in that house for nearly 60 years. She had raised her children there, watched her grandchildren play in the backyard, and spent countless evenings sitting by the window with a cup of tea, watching the seasons change. To most people, she was just a sweet, gentle old woman, but deep inside, she carried a story that no one in her family truly knew. A story of love, loss, war, and quiet strength. Part 1. The Summer Visit. It was early June when her granddaughter Lily Parker came to visit. Lily was 24, studying film at a university in California. She loved stories, especially true ones. She thought she knew her grandmother's life, a simple woman, married to a kind man, raised children, lived a long, peaceful life. But that summer, everything changed. The first few days were quiet. Evelyn cooked homemade meals, told little jokes, and showed Lily her garden full of roses and daisies. They spent afternoons drinking iced tea on the porch, watching fireflies after sunset. But one evening, when a thunderstorm hit, the power went out. Lily lit a candle and decided to explore the attic for old candles or flashlights. That's when she found something that would open the door to a forgotten chapter of Evelyn's life. Part 2. The Box in the Attic. In a corner of the attic, behind some old trunks, Lily discovered a wooden chest covered with dust. It looked untouched for decades. She opened it carefully. Inside were stacks of old letters, wrapped in a faded blue ribbon. The paper had turned yellow with time, the ink slightly faded, but still readable. Each letter began with, "My dearest Thomas." Lily's heart beat faster. She didn't know any Thomas in the family. She sat on the attic floor, candle flickering beside her, and began to read. The words were filled with emotion, stories of longing, hope, and love. Whoever Thomas was, he had meant everything to her grandmother. Lily ran downstairs, holding the box. "Grandma," she said softly, "who is Thomas?" Evelyn froze. The color drained from her face. She looked at the box for a long moment, then whispered, "You found my letters." Part 3. The First Love. Evelyn asked Lily to sit beside her. The candlelight danced in her eyes as she began speaking slowly, as if traveling back through time. "I was 19 years old," she said. "It was the summer of 1943. The world was at war, but here in America, life still went on. I worked at a small diner near the Army training camp. That's where I met him, Thomas Reed." Thomas was 22, a young soldier from Texas. He came in one morning for coffee and apple pie. He had warm brown eyes and a shy smile. Every day after training, he came back, always sitting at the same booth near the window. At first, Evelyn thought he was just another soldier. But he started leaving her small notes. "You make the best coffee in the world," or "You have a smile that makes the whole day brighter." Soon, they started meeting after work. They would walk along the river, talk about books, music, and dreams. Thomas wanted to buy a small piece of land and become a farmer after the war. Evelyn dreamed of opening a bakery. They fell deeply, purely in love, the kind of love that makes you feel like the world has stopped spinning. Part 4. The War Calls. One cold morning in November, Thomas came to the diner wearing his uniform. His face was pale. "They're sending us overseas," he said. Evelyn felt her heart drop. That evening, they met by the lake for the last time. The air was cold, and leaves floated on the water. Thomas held her hand and said, "Promise me you'll write to me every week, no matter what happens." "I promise," she whispered, tears in her eyes. He kissed her forehead gently. "I'll come back for you." And then he was gone. Part 5. The Letters. Evelyn wrote to him every single week. She told him about the town, her dreams, her love for him. She waited by the mailbox every morning for his letters. For months, they exchanged letters filled with love and hope. Then one day, the letters stopped coming. Weeks later, a telegram arrived. It read, "Private Thomas Reed, missing in action." Her world fell silent. For days, she couldn't eat or sleep. But she couldn't stop writing. She wrote him every week, as if her letters could somehow reach him. She wrote about the snow, the flowers in spring, and how she still waited. She never stopped. Part 6. The New Life. 2 years later, her parents introduced her to Robert Parker, a young man from the same town. Robert was kind, gentle, and patient. He knew Evelyn had lost someone, but he never asked too many questions. Over time, Evelyn began to smile again. She married Robert, built a life, raised 2 children. Robert was a good husband, respectful and loving. They shared laughter, built a family, faced hardships together. But late at night, when the world was quiet, Evelyn sometimes opened the old box and read her letters to Thomas. Robert knew about the box but never asked. He once told her, "Everyone carries a piece of their past. I love you for all that you are, including the parts that still remember him." Part 7. The years passed. Time moved forward. The war ended. The country changed. Evelyn's children grew up and moved away. Robert retired, and they spent their old age tending to the garden and traveling to nearby states. Then one winter, Robert passed away peacefully in his sleep. Evelyn was heartbroken but grateful for the years they had shared. She began writing again, this time not to Thomas, but to life itself. Letters about loss, love, and gratitude. Part 8. The Discovery. Back in the present, Lily listened with tears streaming down her cheeks. "Did you ever find out what happened to Thomas?" she asked. Evelyn shook her head. "No, I never did. Maybe it's better that way. Some love stories are not meant to end. They just live inside you." But Lily couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, after her grandmother fell asleep, she searched online. Hours passed until she found a small obituary. Thomas Reed, World War II veteran, passed away in 2010 in a nursing home in New Hampshire. At the bottom of the article, it said he had never married. Lily printed the page and showed it to Evelyn the next morning. Evelyn read it silently. Her eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. "He kept his promise," she whispered. "He came back even if it was too late." Part 9. The Journey. A week later, Lily drove her grandmother to the small town where Thomas was buried. The cemetery was quiet, filled with old oak trees and blooming flowers. Evelyn walked slowly, holding one of her letters in her hand, the very first one she ever wrote him. When she found his grave, she knelt down and placed the letter gently on the stone. She whispered, "I kept writing, Thomas. I never stopped." The wind blew softly, rustling the trees. It was as if the world itself was listening. Evelyn closed her eyes and smiled. "I can finally rest now," she said quietly. Part 10. The Final Goodbye. After that day, Evelyn seemed peaceful. She laughed more, told more stories, and spent long evenings sitting by the window. One morning, Lily went to check on her grandmother. The sun was shining through the curtains. Evelyn was sitting in her favorite chair, a book open on her lap, her glasses resting on her chest. She looked calm, like she had simply fallen asleep. Lily realized she was gone. She cried for hours, but deep down, she knew Evelyn had found her peace, reunited with both Robert and Thomas in her own way. Part 11. The Legacy. A month later, while sorting her grandmother's things, Lily found one more letter, this time addressed to her. It read, "My dear Lily, life will not always be easy. You will love, you will lose, and sometimes you will not understand why things happen. But remember this, love never truly dies. It changes shape. It lives on through stories, memories, and the hearts of those who keep it alive. Tell my story. Let others know that even in loss, there is beauty, and in goodbye, there can still be love." Lily framed that letter and kept it by her writing desk. She began working on a film based on her grandmother's life. She called it The Letters, though she never shared the full name of the man behind them. The movie went on to touch many hearts, because it wasn't just about war or loss. It was about the kind of love that stays long after people are gone. Epilogue. Every year, Lily visited that same house in Vermont. She kept the garden alive, just like her grandmother did. On summer evenings, she would sit on the porch, close her eyes, and feel the wind. Sometimes it carried the faint scent of lavender and cinnamon pie. And she would whisper, "I love you, Grandma." Somewhere, perhaps beyond time, a gentle voice seemed to reply, "I'm still here, my dear. Love never leaves. It just changes its home." Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe for more interesting videos.